everyone, Harris O'Malley from DrNerdLove.com. This week, I want to talk with you about one of the oldest questions out there. How do you tell the difference between someone who's flirting with you and someone who's just being friendly? This is an issue that men and women both struggle with. We are all really bad at judging someone's interest in us. The difference is that women usually don't pick up on the fact that a guy is flirting with her, even though he actually is. Guys, on the other hand, tend to assume that she's totally flirting with him and totally into him, even when he isn't. In fact, guys are especially bad at telling the difference between flirty and friendly behavior. And before you jump into the comments to complain that I'm being too hard on guys, there's actual science behind this. Multiple studies have found that men vastly overestimate women's interest in them. In practice, men gauge women's interest correctly less than 30% of the time. Dudes would have better odds trying to figure out if a woman was flirting with them by flipping a coin.
This has led to a number of issues, from the minor annoyance of dudes who misread basic professional politeness and try to get the sales clerk's number while she's on the job, to hitting on women who are just plain uninterested, to guys who come on too aggressively and then get pissed off when they find out they were wrong. In fact, almost every woman out there has a story about a guy who thought her niceness was a sign that she wanted the D and then lost his shit at her. All of this, in turn, makes women even less likely to want to express interest in someone or even let their guard down and talk to someone who seems like they might be cool on the off chance that he's another one of those guys. Now, as much as we all want to find an algorithmic yes she is or no she isn't formula for determining if someone is interested or if they're not, there really isn't one. The key to being able to tell the difference is understanding why guys are so bad at telling flirting from someone just being nice. One of the reasons that guys are bad at flirting is what YouTuber T1J calls straight dude thinking. The tendency to want to interpret anything in a way that means that we're going to get what we want. In this case, that means getting into someone's pants. It's motivated reasoning. We know what outcome we're hoping for, so we see everything as a step towards getting what we want, regardless of the reality on the ground.
So you're telling me there's a chance?
This is one of the reasons why guys get stuck in the friend zone for so long. They're reading libraries worth of meaning into tiny and inconsequential gestures in order to keep hope alive. When you're praying for signs that she's starting to be into you, you are inevitably going to find them, even if they're not actually there. What's significant is how rarely these guys take women's actual behavior into consideration, and again, there's science to back this up. Men who are the most prone to dickful thinking tend to take how attractive a woman is or how they're dressed as signs that she's interested. They're essentially projecting their desire onto her and seeing it reflected back at them because that's what they want to see. Guys who paid more attention to her emotional state, on the other hand, tended to be more accurate in gauging who was actually into them and who wasn't. And in fairness, society for the most part has encouraged men to assume attraction and to take their shot regardless of the reality on the ground. We are neck deep in stories, TV shows, and movies about guys pursuing women who aren't into them at all and then winning them over, mostly because the script says so. We live in a world where we are told over and over again that you need to take your chance as soon as you have the opportunity, regardless of how inappropriate it may be, because missing out is the worst thing ever. It doesn't matter if she's in a relationship with someone else. It doesn't matter if she seems uninterested. She probably does really want you, and if you try hard enough times, she'll give in. So go ahead and do whatever it is you need to do to make that happen. Seriously, one of the most popular romantic movies of all time involves a guy threatening to kill himself if the heroine won't go on a date with him, while she's currently on a date with someone else. Another common issue is that the guys who are most prone to mistaking friendliness for flirtation or overestimating women's interest tend to have fewer female friends. Men and women are socialized to interact with their friends differently. Male friendships tend to be side by side, more based around activities and events than it is around emotional connections. Women, on the other hand, tend to be more demonstrative and emotional with their friends. For guys who don't have a lot of social contact with women on the regular, this level of emotional intimacy and expressiveness can seem unusual, and it's easy to round it up to romantic attraction. If you have more platonic relationships with women, genuinely platonic ones, not just putting yourself in the friend zone, then it's easier to see the difference between friendly and flirty behavior because you're used to what friendly behavior looks like. It also doesn't help that it's taken as holy gospel that men and women can't be friends because sex is always going to get in the way. And guys really buy into this. When you come into any platonic interaction with a woman under the assumption that sex is inevitably going to rear its head, then you have a much harder time not reading sexual attraction into a situation, regardless of whether it's there or not.
This combination of motivated reasoning and rounding friendliness up to flirtation means that guys tend to assume politeness is the same thing as interest, no matter what else may be going on. The most obvious examples of this involve women in the service industry and the men who think they're hitting on them.
Most service industry jobs, especially anything that involves sales, commissions, or tips, encourage women to be more friendly and outgoing. A waitress or bartender who's a little flirty with her male customers is likely to get a bigger tip. The shot girl at the bar knows that you're more likely to get drinks if she butters you up a little first. And there are plenty of guys out there who will try to impress a sales lady with the size of his credit limit by spending more than he might otherwise. Now, this doesn't mean that the barista you see every day isn't happy to see you, but the fact that she asks you about your day and talks about your weekend with you has more to do with customer service than it does her wanting to get your number. Other thing to keep in mind is that some careers are predicated on people getting you to like them and keep you coming around. This can include Instagram influencers, cosplayers, podcasters, and streamers. In fact, I get so many letters from guys who've developed crushes on cosplayers, Twitch streamers, and YouTube personalities that it's become its own genre. Streaming, podcasting, and YouTube in particular can create the illusion of familiarity and intimacy, a feeling of closeness that doesn't actually exist. This is known as a parasocial relationship, a relationship that is essentially one-sided. The relationship is actually between product and customer, but it feels intimate and reciprocal, in no small part because it's in the streamer's best interest to create that sense of community and fellowship and access. This is especially true when their job relies on being accessible to their fans. Responding to the stream chat, replying on Twitter, getting involved in the comments, all help promote audience engagement. But it can also create the feeling of a connection that isn't actually there. Doubly so if their job involves giving certain paying customers a glimpse behind the scenes or access that other folks don't get, such as an invitation to their private Snapchat. We'll pause here to appreciate the irony. This is why the key to determining whether someone is actually flirting with you or if they're just being friendly is to take a beat and try to be a little objective. What this doesn't mean is assume that she doesn't like you, that she's not flirting, or that you're an unfuckable troll with a face that not even a mother could love. Like I've said before, the painful answer isn't the correct one just because it hurts. The more mindful you are about the people that you're talking to, the easier it becomes to tell who's flirting and who's just being friendly.
Notice very carefully that I said easier, not guaranteed. There are plenty of times where I've been talking to someone and I've had to take a step back and say, wait, was that a moment? That felt like a moment. Was that a moment? Of course, there have also been times where I missed someone all but straight up asking me to come up to her place for a hot cup of my brains out.
The thing to keep in mind is that flirting is a message. Someone who's flirting with you is trying to tell you that they're interested in you specifically. That means that they aren't going to act the same way with you that they are with literally everyone else. The way that this can play out is going to vary from person to person. Some people will make a point of coming up to talk to you specifically when they don't have a reason to. Others will always manage to be in your line of sight, while some people will get shy or suddenly nervous in ways that they don't seem to when they talk to anyone else. Or they may be more touchy-feely with you than they are with other folks they know. When someone compliments your shirt or your hair, your tattoos, it can feel like they're sending you a signal. But if they're like that with everyone, then that's just part of their everyday behavior. You want to be on the lookout for things that are out of the ordinary for them. This can be tricky with people that you don't see regularly or that you never see socially, but if you pay attention, you can usually get a decent feel for how normal their behavior is. Watch the barista with her other customers. Watch how the woman at the bar behaves with her friends, or with the bartender, or other people who are coming to talk to her. If nothing else, ask yourself, if this were a guy, what would you think they were doing? Someone asking how your weekend was is generally making polite small talk, something that's expected. Someone who's flirting with you, on the other hand, is going to ask more detailed questions because they want to know more. They are going to laugh way too hard at your jokes. They are going to give you all of the attention. And because flirting is often a way of sussing out whether someone else is interested, a lot of times they're going to make a point of letting you know that they're single. Or they may make a roundabout comment about whether you have a special someone. Just keep in mind that for some people, flirting is their normal behavior. They like to flirt for fun. There's no intent behind it. If they flirt with everyone the way that they flirt with you, odds are, that's just something that they do.
I'm going to be straight with you. There will still be times when you won't be sure if someone's flirting with you. And honestly, a lot of those times are going to be times when they aren't sure if they're flirting. But the more you focus on the other person, the more socially fluent you'll become. You just need to learn to break through that straight guy thinking. Take a moment, actually examine how she's behaving instead of just assuming that she's asking you to take your shot. The more that you pay attention, the better you will be at telling whether she's being friendly or whether she's hoping for something more. Hey, thanks for checking out the latest video. As you can see, I'm still playing around with the format, so if you dug this week's experiment and you want to see more like this, be sure to let me know. Share your thoughts in the comments below. And hey, if you have a short dating question or a topic you'd like to hear more about on here, then let me know that too. You can share that in the comments as well, or you can send it to me at doc@drnerdlove.com and put "for YouTube" in the subject header. Meanwhile, if you want to get better at flirting via text, then check out my latest book, I Got Her Number, Now What? Getting that number or connecting on Instagram or Facebook is really only the start. This is the all-purpose guide that you need to understand how to take that number, how to take that social media connection and turn it into an actual date. Links to buy it are in the show notes, and if you do check it out, then do me a huge favor, be sure to rate and review it on Amazon and Goodreads. Now, if you're digging the series, then you know what to do. You've been here before. Hit that thumbs up, share it with your friends, ring the bell, subscribe, all the rest of that. If you are really enjoying these videos, I mean really enjoying them, if you feel like you're getting a lot out of it, if you're finding that it's really helping, and you want to support the channel, then consider becoming a patron at patreon.com/drnerdlove. Even $1 is a huge help, but for $5 a month, you are not only helping support the channel and keep the lights on, literally, but you're also getting a lot of awesome bonuses, such as exclusive content, bonus episodes, and the access to the patron-only Discord server. And like I always say, I can't do this without the support of my patrons, so whether you've just joined me or you've been a patron from the beginning, thank you all so very much. Meanwhile, you can follow me on Twitter at @DrNerdLove. Keep up with the latest news by joining the Facebook page at facebook.com/DrNerdLove. And as always, hit that logo to subscribe, check out my other videos, and I will see you here next time with more about love, sex, and dating. Later.